What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I'm just sitting here chilling, watching the fight game with Jim Lampley. But I want to talk to you guys about the boxing display that I witnessed between Billy Joe Saunders and David Lemieux. David Lemieux, the strong, hungry Canadian one-punch knockout artist, 38 wins, 33 by knockout, 3 losses, now 4 losses. Got took to school tonight, by Billy Joe Saunders, an underdog. A guy that everyone expected to lose by knockout because he was in there against a hard-hitting puncher. But like I told everyone, if you look at my latest video about the prediction of this fight, I told everyone that Lemieux has problems with guys with mobility. He has problems with bigger guys, with which Billy Joe Saunders looked like a fucking 168 pounder. You know what I mean? He didn't even look like a middleweight, but he's a bigger middleweight. Longer reach, longer range, better footwork, better skill, and he didn't take any chances. It kind of reminds me of David Tua and Lennox Lewis back in the gap, if you watch boxing back in that day. So I would definitely look at that fight because it was just exactly the same. He lost every single round, okay? And a lot of people was like, well, how can that be? You must be a David Lemieux hater. No, I love David Lemieux. I love the way he fights, but I know styles make fights. And you got to be careful who he puts in there with. And I don't think that Golden Boy will actually put if the Golovkin-Canelo fight isn't made, I don't see them putting him in there with Billy Joe Saunders with the skills that he possessed today and the discipline, and the ring generalship, because he turned it on when he wanted to turn it on. And I don't think that Golden Boy would bring another Golden Boy fighter in like Canelo, the King Cow, the Cash Cow, at 160, same weight class, mind you. I don't think that fight will be made right now. If it is, it would be aggressive. It would be ballsy. But I don't see that fight happening. So I think the best fight for Billy Joe Saunders now would be Danny Jacobs. That would be a great fight for the matchup because they're both mobile guys. You'll both see boxing and you'll both see punching. Danny Jacobs has a better chance of winning, but against a slick guy like Billy Joe Saunders, he might see little shades of when he got knocked out. He has 2 losses to Golovkin, and Dimitri, so he is actually that would be an interesting fight, and I would love to see that. And it also gives Jacobs an opportunity to get the WBO belt back, and it also shows if Billy Joe Saunders can handle somebody like the likes of Jacobs. Now these things are actually coming to pass, and we're seeing who can beat who. David Lemieux, he was an ex-champion. He's a knockout artist. He's a pretty boy, price kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? And he can knock you out with either hand. He will always knock you out with either hand. But he can't, when it comes to stepping up to the plate, I don't think he can, he can deliver. You know what I mean? Because of the style of that guy. Not to say if he can hit anyone like David Tua, I'm going to compare him to David Tua from anybody else. He'll knock your brains out because of his punching power, but he has to be set to punch, and he's not good at cutting off the ring. He didn't cut to the left and didn't cut off the ring like he's supposed to, like his corner told him. He didn't do that. So this is the result of that. He got beat every round by Billy Joe Saunders, and Billy Joe Saunders is a guy that also he makes a way out of no way. He's always the underdog. He wins fights that he does not supposed to win. He will sell tickets because people will watch him or will go or will pay to see him lose. And he hasn't lost. 26 wins, 12 knockouts. 12 knockouts. And it doesn't mean he doesn't have punching power. It means that he's not going to take those chances. He's not going to take those risks. I would love to see him in there with Danny Jacobs. If Lara moves up, I would love to see him take Lara. Look what he did to Willie Monroe Jr. Look what he did to him. He gave him a boxing lesson, but he aggressively gave him a boxing lesson because he turned it on when he needed to turn it on, and he did what he needed to do. He did the same thing with Lemieux today. And watching that particular fight with Monroe Jr., it opened my eyes on first of all, what type of shape Billy Joe Saunders was in. Second of all, what he could do in that ring while he was in shape, when he was in shape. And I know David Lemieux knocking out Curtis Stevenson the way he did. He's shown that he gave the reputation of a knockout artist. He always has. But I told everyone again, if you look at older fights of Lemieux, Marco Antonio Rubio, Gennady Golovkin, he cannot handle guys that move. So this is what we have. It's the middleweight division is one of the most interesting divisions besides the welterweight division that we have today in boxing. I'm looking forward to the heavyweight division too. Ortiz and Wilder, but I'm gonna save that for another video. But I'm looking at these guys. Billy Joe Saunders also showed some mind games in there. You seen him bouncing over there and at his corner. No one hardly ever does that. He pissed Lemieux off because these guys have bad blood. You know what I mean? They're not friends. They won't be friends before, during, or they won't be friends after because, I don't think there will be a rematch. There's no need for a rematch. He lost every round. But it puts David Lemieux in his place. It shows him, a lesson to be learned, and it shows his promotion a lesson to be learned, on how they match Lemieux. You don't put Lemieux in there with someone that's mobile that can move, like Billy Joe Saunders, or a bigger middleweight. Put him in there with someone like Cortese. That would be a good fight. Cortese is a good banger, but he's not mobile. You know what I mean? Yeah, David Lemieux will have a good fight with him. So I would like to see a fight like that. So, I see Lemieux's future. He's already been a world champion. He's making good money with HBO. He will always be one of my favorite fighters. This loss I can't say it doesn't mean anything. It just shows where he's at in the middleweight division. We got to call a spade a spade. Before you guys say, oh, well, you're hating on David Lemieux, that's not the case. Styles make fights again. Billy Joe Saunders is a force to be reckoned with. I always said that. And I always gave him more credit than other people because a lot of people don't give him credit of being a good boxer. He's a shit talker on Twitter. He's a hype riser. He does a lot of things that taunts his opponent, but it's all strategy. And you've seen that today. He could have got David Lemieux out of there. I believe he could have got him out of there, but he didn't. He didn't risk it. Because pure boxers don't risk it. But one thing he has other than pure boxing, because he is a pure boxer, but he also has another tenacity spirit, maybe his upbringing, maybe him being an Irish gypsy, whatever. That might all apply to him knowing how to turn it on. Okay? So that's what Billy Joe Saunders is capable of. And I would love to see him in there with Golovkin. He calls out Golovkin, but, let's call a spade a spade. A couple years ago, no one wanted to touch Golovkin. Now everyone wants a piece of him because now he is exploitable. But the fight would be very different with that because Golovkin does know how to cut off the ring. Golovkin is not 5'9". Golovkin doesn't have the reach of 6'7" or 68-inch reach. You know what I mean? He doesn't have those things like David Lemieux. So the fight games get more interesting as time goes on, and I can't wait to see these fights. So as I predicted, Billy Joe Saunders by decision. And you guys have any kind of decisions, hate, discussions, comments, please leave below. But until then, you guys been counterpunched. Peace.